In the previous video, we had studied about two types of play, namely unoccupied play and solitary play. Hope it was clear to you. Now, in this video, let us learn about the rest 4 kinds of play as laid down by Parton. At the end of this module, you will be able to learn about the types of play as per Parton's theory, understand the characteristics and importance of the rest 4 types of play according to Parton, identify activities fostering each kind of play that we have studied. In this video, we will be studying about onlooker play, parallel play, associative play and cooperative play. This kind of play is also known as spectator play. The child just observes what and how others are playing without disturbing them or joining with them. A child learns a lot by watching other children play, and that forms the active part of this kind of play. Onlookers are mostly children between 2 and 2.5 years. Children involved in such kind of play are found observing another child or group of children in a play activity. Though no direct involvement in the play is initiated by an onlooker, the child is found somewhere very near to the play activity of others. Sometimes it's easy to think that children engaged in onlooker play might be lonely or scared to engage with other children, but it is actually a very normal part of play development. Just as adults watch others, children too learn a lot by watching others. The onlookers observe, try to communicate, give suggestions, clarify their doubts, and even show certain other forms of social interaction. Through onlooker play, a child acquires self-knowledge, practices interaction, and learns how to play with others and also grasp the social rules of play and how to form relationships. This play helps them to understand as to how to engage with others physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially during play. They also learn how to use materials for play and understand about the world in general. Onlooker play can be encouraged by showing children daily activities or by allowing them to observe children elder to them playing. For example, Tim, a 2.5-year-old new child just admitted in a play school, sits with Ranua, 4-year-old, who is playing with blocks. Here Tim does not play along with Ranua. The child just observes what Ranua is doing with the blocks, its shapes, texture and forms. After a few minutes, Tim suggests a block appropriate to his imagination to Ranua to fit into his building blocks. Ranua, being the eldest, approves the suggestion and keeps the block which satisfies Tim. Here, Tim is developing socialization. Activities for onlooker play. The most positive way of encouraging children to play is by letting them see other children playing and enjoying a game. As for a toddler, it's best to see their elder siblings play or children in the neighborhood gather and play. When it comes to childhood, children can be sent to a nursery or kindergarten where they get to see more children and generate an interest in playing more games. A preschool child enjoys games by watching their role models playing. It can be the father, elder sibling, or other children too. It is the first step towards social interactive play. This kind of play occurs when children play next to each other but are not really interacting together. Though children seem to be in a group, they play on their own. They are still egocentric in nature. In other words, even while seated next to each other, they do not interact among themselves. Parallel play is seen in children between the age group of 2 and 3. In this play, even if the child plays the same or a different game, they like to be seated along with children of the same age group. They seem to possess a don't care attitude of what others play, but they do react when removed from the group. They are not really engaged in social exchange. Children start separating toys as my toys and their toys. They watch and listen to each other which is the initial stage of socialization. Parallel play is a bridge to more cooperative play. It's like a warm-up exercise where children work side by side on the same activity, practicing skills and learning new methods to engage together. It develops a child's reasoning skills and leads to symbolic play. For example, two children, Meena and Rani, seated face to face with same toys, sticks. They both play with the same toys by their imagination. Meena uses the stick as a sword in her imagination, whereas Rani uses the stick as a ladle to stir soup. They both will be seated together but will be playing different games. Activities for parallel play. The equipments or toys used here will be common or can be of any type. Only thing is that the parent can bring a change in the environment or improvise the seating arrangement of the child by making them sit with a child of the same age. Even though the children do not interact with each other, they might feel comfortable to have the other's company. Also, they get a chance to observe each other and the next day they might exchange their ideas of play. This type of play signifies a shift in the child. Even though children play individually, they sit in a group and take turns with their toys, which means children play same activities at the same time. But it is not necessary to get along with each other. Instead of being more focused on the activity or object involved in play, children begin to be more interested in the other players. Associative play is seen in children above the age of 3. Children interact with each other by asking, borrowing and sharing toys but not playing with each other. As far as children are concerned, communication is only necessary for giving and taking their toys. But children develop a friendship with other children and take preferences to play with. Associative play helps in developing cooperation, reasoning skills and problem-solving abilities. It makes children to become more socialized and interactive. They start clarifying their doubts by asking as how, why and what the task is for. They also practice what they have observed through onlooker play and parallel play. They also start using their newfound skills to engage with other children or adults during an activity or exploration. During this stage, the more mature child is selected as the leader of the group. For example, 2 to 5 children in a sand pit play together with their boundaries, each one having their own tools to play. When they need something extra, they ask for it and also share the tools without more communication or thanking each other. Activities for associative play. It's quite similar to parallel play, but adults should not provide the same toys for children. They must have different toys so that they can exchange or share the toys they are using. This gives them an opportunity to interact with each other and develop social skills. It's an organized kind of play with a particular goal to be achieved. This type of play is mostly seen in children around 5 years. It's categorized by cooperative efforts between players. Children play in a large group with principles and rules. In this kind of play, the leader plays a lead or active role. Cooperative play is seen in preschool activities in the form of dramatized play, group formal games, etc. In this kind of play, each child is assigned with particular tasks which has to be completed adhering to certain rules which will help the group to reach a collective goal. Cooperative play develops social skills in the children as they interact with each other. It also involves a lot of conflict, but it's quite normal. Conflicts usually arise because it is sometimes difficult for young children to share, take turns and negotiate control in these types of scenarios. This can be overcome if parents or elders can stay close by when they play and help them learn healthy ways of expressing their emotions and by teaching them problem-solving skills and strategies. Language develops rapidly in the children as they start speaking and listening to each other during play. It's important to remember that cooperation is an advanced skill and can be very difficult for young children. There are different types of cooperative play, namely sharing, taking turns, obeying rules, and negotiating. Sharing does not literally have the exact meaning, as children do not take initiative to share their things with other children in most of the situations. When an adult asks a child to share a toy with another child, he or she finds it unbearable to give up the things to someone. The easiest way to convince the child to share is to negotiate with the child or distract him with something else which is more interesting and make the child give up on his toy by himself. For example, two children named Sunny and Ryan are coloring two different pictures using the same box of crayons. Ryan needed blue color to paint the sky in his picture, but the same color was being used by Sunny to color a dress. In this situation, an adult can ask Sunny to color top half of the dress with blue and the remaining half with another color, citing the reason that the picture would be more beautiful. By convincing Sunny to use another color, the situation results in Sunny sharing the blue color crayon to Ryan by himself. Taking turns. While playing in a group, children have to wait to get their turn. Mostly children tend to get an immediate response when they want something, which is not possible in cooperative play. A child has to patiently wait to satisfy his pleasure to play till his time comes, even if the child had to wait without completing the task. They should be taught that they should never give up but wait patiently till their turn comes. In case they have to give up, it is better to teach them in a fun manner. Maybe some game can be introduced in such a manner that the person who gives up will be the winner. It's also sometimes better to create a winning situation for both the parties. For example, while playing with a ball, if both children refuse to share it, then we can make them play games such as throw the ball or passing the ball so that both the children get their turn. Obeying rules. Children are very possessive and competitive by nature. While playing, everyone wants to win in the game they play. So children tend to cheat a little bit in order to achieve their goal. Since the peers never accept such discrepancies, adults should create a set of rules which have to be adhered to by the children to win the game. To avoid issues in cooperative games, it's better to teach children about the rules and regulations of the game. This in turn also develops a good sportsmanship in the children and also teaches them the tactics to end a game peacefully. Let the children learn that not all games are meant to be won. It's fine to lose in some games. Negotiating. It is difficult for a child to accept or compromise to their desire on what they want, since children are the boss of their own life. By learning to negotiate, children learn to deal with their emotions and develop empathy towards others. It's better to teach children to negotiate with little things at home between siblings or parents before forcing them to take initiative to negotiate with friends. Once a child learns to share, wait for turns, negotiate and follow rules, they will be ready for the future things of their life. It's at this stage that they learn to master important new social skills such as sharing, taking turns, obeying rules and negotiating. These are all very difficult for a young child to learn. Activities for cooperative play. As the children are grown up now, they can interact and follow the instructions. So games such as word puzzle, running race, snake and ladder, lotto, etc. can be given to children where the child is taught to wait for chances and play according to the rules. Parton's categories represent one way of thinking about the types of play. Her categories emphasize the role of play in the child's social world. Play is thus an exciting and pleasurable activity because it satisfies the exploratory drive. During play, children practice their competencies and skills in a relaxed and pleasurable way. Play not only reflects a child's cognitive development but also advances that development. Hope you are now thorough with all the types of play dealt with in this chapter. See you with my next video with many more types of play. Thank you.